Hello, ladies and gentlemen. That is Scorpio Moe. I am C.Boogie. And on behalf of the Run That Back podcast, this is today's version of Who Did It Better. Today's song is Ribbon in the Sky
by
Stevie Wonder. Our contestants are Stevie Wonder and Intro. This is another one which is a very fine line, my friends. We all know the classic by Stevie Wonder. We all know the reimagining of it by Intro.
We get a little history on the actual song, Ribbon in the Sky.
Okay, so Ribbon in the Sky was released in 1982 on Stevie Wonder's original Musicarium 1 album.
Motown Records.
Motown Records. It charted at number 54 on the pop charts, number 21 on the adult contemporary, and number 10 on the R&B charts. This song was also nominated for a Grammy in 1983, and we will have that discussion a little bit further along in the show. But first, here is Stevie Wonder's version of A Ribbon in the Sky.
Oh, so long for this night I prayed that a star would guide you my way to share with me this special day. Well, ribbons in the sky for our love.
That was A Ribbon in the Sky by Stevie Wonder. The next contestant.
Oh, we gotta chop it up about that. How we feel about that record, though.
You know
his version.
This is true. I've always, ever since we started this segment, I always just jump ahead. I'm all over the place. But your views on it?
To be honest with you, until we started doing the research, I think you thought as well, the record was made, it came out before then. And he might have been sitting on it before that, because even the sounds of it, it didn't feel early 80s. It felt, for me, it felt late 70s, 78, 79. And it might have been done then.
Right, because it was on a Greatest Hits album. It was on the Greatest Hits album in '82. But as you stated, that could have been recorded prior to, because you know people do songs, like they might have old songs in the vault or something like that, and just to fulfill their contract, they throw it on a Greatest Hits record. So it was on the Greatest Hits before it was an actual hit? It was just a filler song? I believe it was a song that was added to his Greatest Hits album, because the Greatest Hits album was released.
But not being out prior?
Correct, it wasn't out prior.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's interesting to do that and make that a single?
Yeah. Because, you know, that's what they normally do on the Greatest Hits album. Like I said, to fulfill the contract, they will generally do 1 or 2 songs and put it out, you know.
Original.
Most recently, I think Rihanna's done it to fulfill her contract. Michael Jackson's done it. You know, numerous pop stars.
I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah. But like I said,
because I never bought a Greatest Hits, so I just assumed it was the shit that I already heard, so why bother?
Yeah. But I agree with you. It gives off a 70s type of vibe, like, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. His name, Jim Croce. The song, I think, Time in a Bottle. That was the song. That's the type of...
Because the song is still celebrated in weddings, and it's a traditional...
It's a staple.
To
this day!
It's a staple. So,
to this day!
The next contestant is Intro, their version of A Ribbon in the Sky. This was released in 1993 on their debut album. It was also the last song of that album's campaign. And as stated previously, this is Intro's version of A Ribbon in the Sky.
Oh, so long for this night I pray that a star would guide you my way to share with me the special day. Well, the ribbons in the sky
that was Intro's version of Ribbon in the Sky. How did you feel?
I'm not gonna lie, not hearing it for a while and then rehearing it again for this segment, I can see where the debate comes in, and it's like if someone makes a steak, right, and it's a good steak, then someone else comes in, same steak, same porterhouse, whatever it is, somebody just adds some extra seasoning, an extra run. You see what I'm saying? Like they spiced it up. I'm not gonna lie, but not to the degree where it was disrespectful and saying, "Yo, you killed Stevie." It's not. It ain't like that. But it's more like, you know what? You made it more digestible. Not that it was undigestible before, but you made it more serving for a younger audience at that time, because it's still 30 something years later. You see what I'm saying? I mean, from now, we're talking about 2025. This is 93.
Right. And actually, Stevie's version was released in 82. There's only an 11-year difference between the songs. Because theirs came out in 93, his came out in 82. My take on it is, once again, it's a very fine line. But my main critique is it's not the song, it's the arrangement that makes Intro's version
debatable.
Very debatable. It is their arrangement of the song, because towards the end of the song, as you stated, there's more runs, there's more background, there's more of a vamp, there's more vocal intricacies on their version, and Stevie's is more of a understated genius performance. It's beautiful, it's very weddingy. You know what I'm saying? It's a love song, and it's.
Well, if
him.
you see the video for "Ribbon in the Sky" by and you see it, like
it's black and white.
It's you don't understand, especially Stevie. But the first artist plants the flag, and it's like, okay, you got to do that, but do it your way. And how do you do that without messing the record up? This is Stevie. This is not Joe Blow. You know what I'm saying? This is a man who decades in Motown, a writer, arranger. This is you can attempt to do it and kill your career before it even gets started.
This is correct. And realize, folks, with this series, our very first one was Jackson 5 in Troop. We're talking about heavyweights in the game. Jackson 5, Troop lived up to the Jackson 5 and surpassed it. But Intro, like I said, it's not, to me, it's the arrangement of the song.
Can understand why people have either a hard time or even going with, because I know people that go with the intro simply because,
and I'm not mad at
the
that.
intro, no pun intended, and the ending.
Yeah.
And how it came in and the vamp, which is the exiting of the record, how, that was what determined it for them. So
right.
How are you feeling about that? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. It's basically the ending of the song, the way they took it out, the backgrounds. Kenny didn't.
Kenny Green, by the way.
Kenny Green, R.I.P.
Who's a singer and songwriter. A singer and songwriter of his own right.
Yeah. It's basically the ending that did it for me. But like I said, if you like Intro's version, I'm not mad at you. If you like Stevie's, I'm definitely not mad at you, because trying to cover a Stevie Wonder song, just the thought of it alone could boggle a singer's mind. But I also have another fact for you. Stevie in this song was nominated in 1983 for a Grammy for the Best R&B Male Performance. He ended up losing, and he lost to another great Motown artist, Marvin Gaye. And that song was Sexual Healing. So,
yeah,
as an offshoot of Who Did It Better, they're not the same songs, but compare Sexual Healing to Ribbon in the Sky.
I'm not just gonna say I'm gonna do you. I'm just gonna add another layer to it. So at that particular Grammy, you know how the Grammys, they give you the card, you say the nominees, and you say the winner. Well, the presenter was another Motown star, Rick motherfucking James, who's coming off a career high himself.
Yes.
So you got to remember, Rick is the man at Motown. If anybody knows the history of Motown, when they moved to LA in 70s or early 70s, whatever, and then it was a period where Motown kind of had to because music changed, had to kind of figure it out. And here comes Rick comes in, and himself, Tina Marie's writing for Smokey, wrote for Temptations. Rick had the hot hand at Motown and kind of saved it at one point. His antics enough kind of turned them off, and then they kind of pointed it over to Lionel Richie, which was like 2 years later. Lionel, and that's why you see Lionel, because they push what they say in the business, they push the button, But Rick was the hot hand until he pissed some executives off, from what I understand. You can go Google and look up that story. But
do your homework.
yeah. But that's a good point. So it's presented by another Motown star to give to, between the other two. It's just interesting because Marvin is on a high at this point.
Yeah, because Sexual Healing.
Literally.
Because, Sexual Healing. You folks think about this for a second. Ribbon in the Sky, which is a love song. Sexual Healing, which is a fucking song. Which one you want?
Yo, Marvin is in his bag. He's, it's a tough one, man. It's not really a tough one, but because if you're going politically, if it was really like that, you probably would go with Stevie.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, so maybe it was whoever, I don't know, the Academy, the people that vote. It's a process to how that works with the Grammys.
Yeah, because it certainly changed. Because back then, even up to a couple years ago, it was kind of a bunch of stuffy white folks making the votes for the Grammys. And then I believe Harvey Mason Jr. came in. I think he's the new president of the National Association of Recording Arts and Sciences, and made more people, more voting available. Presented that option to more people in the recording.
Because you have to be in the thing, you have to be in the society, and then they look at a number of things, and they tabulate it, and they supposedly get the way they get. But a lot of people, I would say in the last 10 years or so, had quit. A lot of notable people, because there's artists in there. This is just not just, behind the scenes. They're actual recording artists and producers that are part of the Academy. Just to throw out a name like Jermaine Dupri, Questlove, things like that. These people are part of the Academy, or were at one time.
Yeah, and because the way certain categories have been voted upon, some members have left.
Right.
But, like I said, Harvey Mason Jr. has done a wonderful job of bringing them back into the fold and, just making them feel part of the music scene again, and making sure their votes count. But to wind this all up, who are you taking?
I'm still gotta go with Stevie, and because to beat Stevie, you gotta knock him out the box, and this is who did it better. Now, if this was who did it different, or who had more swagger on it, then something different. I'm still rolling with Mr. Wonder.
Ooh. Oh man. Ooh, boy, oh boy.
Tough one, man. Tough one.
It can't be a tie, can it?
Nah. Either or, man. Either or.
All right, folks. That'll be it for Who Does It Better.
What the fuck?
No.
You got to, like, think about it, man. I mean, like, no one's mad at, like, this is not one where you're going to not really piss anyone off.
I know. I was just joking around. I've already made my decision. You can't go against the classic Stevie Wonder. You can't go against that voice. You can't go against the man who wrote the song. You can't go against the originator.
Yeah, unless you really, like, in our Troop versus Jackson 5 version, it was... You could go against it if you know what I mean. But here's the thing: other than the Jackson 5 didn't write that. No. But Stevie Wonder wrote it. So you're going. How do you beat the writer of his own record? See, that's the thing. You're going. You see what I'm saying? How do you? Now you really got to beat them.
Yeah.
It can't. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as we do these series. When we're talking about singer-songwriter, I don't care. Maybe we'll get into a Donny Hathaway, and then who'll do it. But how you know what you have to do to beat the author
in order to be the man.
Yeah, like think about that. Think about that. It's one thing if somebody wrote it and two people sung it, do it, but the singer-songwriter, that's what separates it for me.
Yeah. We all know Stevie has a timeless classic voice and he's still doing stuff that singers third of his age can't even accomplish.
You can't
even do it.
It's tough, man.
Can't do it.
So.
But we're getting ready to sign off. That's Scorpio Moe. I'm C.Boogie, and on behalf of the Run That Back podcast, this was Who Did It Better?
You know.
Run that